'Tis I, Reltats. Today I'm going to ban 4 of the 8 classes, use only 4 deploy limit, and most importantly, ban all those filthy 6 stars. Why? Because I'm a masochist and I will not get out of bed for any less. So, how did I decide what classes to ban? Why? I just did what any sane person would do. I dropped in at everyone in the community Discord server. I decided that since the standard levels were going to be quite easy, I'd actually ban 5 classes instead of just half the classes. The community chose for me to complete the first stages of the challenge with specialists, defenders, and supporters. With my classes locked in, it was time for me to review my roster. While my roster is a bit weak in the defender and supporter departments, I was very confident in my selection of specialists, and that I would not need to build any more specialists. Just listen to how confident I was. But I got specialists. I got a good number of specialists, and I get access to Ethan, who's like the best unit in this event. We'll make Rel build more specialists today. I already have like almost all of the specialists that I'm allowed to have on this account built.
A few moments later.
Alright, we've done it. There's no going back now. With my newly promoted Kirara to carry me through these trials, I went to level her skills and encountered my first oopsie-boopsie of this challenge. You see, I'm a broke-ass bitch, and could not afford to level Kirara's skills. But, you see, this was secretly a blessing in disguise. I didn't know it yet, but this was the real secret to unlocking Kirara's potential. I just needed to keep her at skill level 2. This, maximizes her damage. Yeah, I'm going with that. With my units prepared, it's time for me to begin the event, which I immediately attempt to throw in the first stage. Luckily for me, the enemies have stats of actual toddlers, so in spite of my best attempts to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, my flawless strategy prevails in the end. After this, we have some smooth sailing due to the unreasonably powerful combo of modded up ambushers. Hopefully I can... Oh, Feeder really pushes these totems, doesn't she? Look at how fucking slow it's going. Oh my god. I love this so much. No. Seriously, why has no one brought this up before? Kirara slows enemies by 20% just for them entering her range. Manicore slows the enemies by another 20% just for them entering her range. And then she slows them by another 50% with 100% uptime with her skill. Enemies just walk in and go, well, shit, I guess I'll just die. Adding in Feeder to do another 20% slow, while also pushing the enemies away is just chef's kiss. Due to the sheer overconfidence I had at this point, I also decided to add an additional modifier for the challenge today. It's called Bourbon. However, even in the depths of drunkenness, nothing could stop my forward march through these stages. Nothing until Sui himself, that is. Who, after a surprisingly close first attempt, still got to tell me, go home, you're drunk. But, being the hard-headed doctor I am, I went back to the drawing board. What was I missing for this boss fight? What could be the thing that I really needed to push me over the edge to the finish line? Of course! I just needed to build another unit! I already have, like, almost all of the specialists that I'm allowed to have. In what was a truly momentous occasion as well, I was able to get Manicore directly to skill level 7! Hell, as long as you ignore just a little material crafting. But hey, we did it! We achieved a great victory. Please, I know, hold your applause. With that out of the way, it was finally time to take on that stupid dragon again. But for some mysterious reason, I was still having trouble defeating the dragon. I racked my brain for solution. Batman TAS is peak Batman? Question mark? And ultimately I arrived at Praminix. Clearly, since I was going to struggle on DPS no matter what here, the best option was to actually lower Sui's defense and res, so that I could just convince my units that they were actually DPS units. Was she really useful here? I'll let you be the judge of that. We opened the map with some major ambusher gaming to clear out the initial wisp spawn, an invitation to wind the wisps, and totems actually don't have normal HP bars, instead they require a specific number of hits taken to die. These wisps will take 10 hits and Ethan deals 5 instances of damage each time he attacks on skill 1, meaning that he actually clears them out with only 2 attacks. Manicore and skill level 2 Kirara play around in the little quicksand pit to handle those outside of Ethan's range. And yes, I realize watching this back that with better placement, Ethan would have soloed the wisps, but listen, I was 2 hours into sipping on bourbon at this point. With the initial wisps out of the way, we DPS the first phase of Sui as quickly as we can with Fire Whistle, J, and skill level 2 Kirara. I also tossed in Gummy to keep Fire Whistle alive, and thankfully we didn't allow Sui to go Hungry Hippos on the wisps, so he didn't have any additional HP here, which made us take him down pretty fast. Now, for the phase transition, this looks really scary because it looks like it's a 5-lane map, but this is secretly a 1-lane map. So it ends up actually taking no real attention for this part, and we just kind of set up for the next phase of Wisps and Sui, and we just kill the horde of enemies on accident. Now, for phase 2 of the fight with Sui, it was actually a total shit show this run. I'm honestly surprised this managed to clear. I had so many operators die here. It also ended up taking way too long, and I was actually able to redeploy Fire Whistle after Sui killed her. And this is really scary, because these huge bosses that don't try to escape into the blue boxes run an invisible timer, and when that runs out, you just instantly lose the level. During the next phase transition, we can mostly ignore the trash mobs again. Their totems are actually a bit of a concern this time around, but deploying Ethan both solves that problem and sets up for the next wave of Wisps anyways. We take time to deploy skill level 2 Kirara and Manticore once again to deal with Wisps outside of Ethan's range. This time around, the weird positioning actually makes sense though, as we needed Kirara to face tank Sui's laser. She is unironically an absolute champion at this. Apparently even fiery death lasers are repelled by Kirara's her mad gamer girl skills. Please, Kirara, it's been a week since you last showered. Please, God, shower. With Sui's initial Biden blast out of the way, we can use Ethan to prevent the final waves of Wisps from reaching Sui, while juggling units to provide damage until Sui dies. The Wisps don't actually provide Sui additional HP in this final phase. Instead, they provide fast charging of the Biden blast, so we really don't want him eating those up. But ultimately, Sui can't handle skill level 2 Kirara, and we finish off the normal stages without even going off plan that much. Smile. And we finish up day 1 of the challenge. For day 2, we'll be moving on to the EX stages. These are sure to be a lot more difficult than the normal stages, so I have decided to have the community vote on a new set of classes for me, and I'll be going from 3 classes to 4 classes. And with only a slight bit of rigging the gamba, I was able to ensure that I would once again have access to skill level 2 Kirara. You say cheating, I say creative interpretation of the rules. However, my machinations were not without peril. I now had to deal with a 4th place tiebreaker between guards and vanguards, and I decided to let RNG decide my fate here, and it was kind enough to give me guards. I now had a clear path to victory in mind, or at least so I believed. My final set of classes were medics, casters, specialists, and guards. Once again, the Ambusher Sandpit carries us through the first few stages, though I may or may not have accidentally ordered Beeswax to die in EX2. Look, nobody told Carnelian. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. I don't want to die. EX3 was another simple affair, though Carfrain got to do her favorite pastime of blindly firing her skill into a crowd of allies. In EX4, I might have sort of, kind of killed Beeswax again, but listen, I swear it's not my fault. I swear. I'm not the one who ordered her to die this time. She just did it on her own. I was not involved. EX5 was another freebie. I was truly unstoppable. Nothing was going to get between me and Sui. Okay, so maybe I was getting a little ahead of myself. EX6 did prove to be a bit of a challenge, but after a couple of tries, I remembered I had access to skill level 2 Kirara, who carried us again in spite of Feeder's best attempts to throw the run. EX7 was all that stood between me and Sui now. And I've got to be honest, how the hell is this an EX stage? The only reason I didn't first try this is because Ethan is a troll who can't hit invisible enemies. I mean, come on. Now, just like Macho Man Randy Savage's cream, we have risen to the top.
Nobody does it better.
It's time to begin our epic battle with EX. But in the interest of only covering this fight once, I'll just give you the Cliff Notes version of the normal mode fight. I had to unlock skill level 2 Kirara's true potential as a toxic gamer by getting her to level 69.
Nice.
And we had to call upon the Lord's good graces to clear the level. Look at that. They never stood a chance with his Carfrain boosted machine gun. Let's go! After which, I was so excited about how fun the clear was, I went directly to fight the CM version of Sui, and boy was this a fight. In the CM version of the stage, the Wisps take 5 additional hits on top of enemies getting boosted stats. This means Ethan is not quite able to solo some of the Wisps depending on their paths. That's okay though, because Rock can deal 2 instances of damage with each attack, and we want to charge her up for Sui's phase 1 anyways, because apparently extra thick cat girls are also natural predators of ancient dragon gods. After dealing with phase 1, we once again have to deal with the map pretending to have more than one lane. The enemies in this map are actually powerful enough that I had to dedicate 1 entire slot in my squad to being dedicated to dealing with them. That's it though. I almost feel like I'm overselling this, honestly, but also maybe that's just the power of everyone's favorite airhead bartending bird. Other than that, it's just another phase of setting up for our next round of combat with Sui. The most important thing here is we actually get Moose at the lowest level of targeting priority, since extra small cat girls are apparently also Sui's natural predators. Her presence alone reduces Sui's attack by 40% permanently. After this has been dealt with, it's just some careful timing and carve rain to ensure that she can only use her skill on Cutter, because Cutter will dish out absurd damage with her skill. Apparently, fox girls with knives are also Sui's natural predators. I'm starting to see why Sui has gone extinct. Sui's Phase 2 dealt with, it's just another round of preparing for his Phase 3 while barely acknowledging the existence of the trash mobs and setting up to deal with the next round of wisps. The wisps in this round are extra annoying. There are a whole bunch that I won't be able to do anything about that spawn in the back because of the limitations of 4P relay that will rapidly charge Sui's Biden Blast, which even under the influence of Moose is a no joke in the CM. Once the final phase begins, I tried to be clever with Carve Rain boosting Gardemia S2, but it appears that Sui does not dream of Bunny Girl Senpai and he quickly kills her. We have finally discovered something that is not Sui's natural predator. I am sure nature scientists will be elated by this news, though then we're going to immediately disappoint them by revealing to them that we sicked Cutter on him and reverted his status back to extinct. So that's it, right? Event over? Wrong. I foolishly thought at this moment too that I had finished the most difficult stage of this challenge, but little did my naive little monkey brain know that I was in store for something far, far more difficult, hidden away in the remaining challenge stages. Riding my victory high, I began the CMs and promptly smashed the first 3 of them, further inflating my ego that the event had already given me its worst. EX4 had me on the ropes for a moment, but ultimately B-Hunter just fucking dodged 3 sharp edge attacks in a row, allowing me to just first try it. In EX5 CM, my hubris got me to slip up on what should have been a simple level, leading me to expect B-Hunter to solo over 30 totems. She did not. Remembering that I should in fact take the game seriously though, led this to just being another freebie. But it was finally time for me to receive a grim reminder. A reminder of what it's like to live in fear of CM conditions, and that I was disgraced to live in this cage called a niche. I once again learned the meaning of fear, the dread one is supposed to experience when playing a niche. How? How was I supposed to clear one of the hardest levels in this event with no 6 stars, 4 deploy limit, 4 classes banned, and 2 of my remaining classes soft banned? And those were the good classes I had too. But it was too late to back down now. I had to see this through. I was so close to the end of the event, I wasn't going to let a little thing like being totally fucking impossible stop me. Even if it meant I had to do another CC10 Bybeak stall level of precision gaming, I was going to clear this. After many failed attempts in an emotional support scene, I decided it was time to try something radical. I decided to bring along Baby Gray. I did not deploy him. However, most of the remaining squad was quite important here. Ethan will be cheesing the totems as he always does. Gravel and Red are here for emergency sharp edge blocking. Lava and Hibiscus alter hard carry. No, seriously, it was only possible with the hard work these two put in. Well, maybe not Lava's hard work. Manicore applies a slow. Skill level 2 Kirara helps somehow. Definitely. Jay and Skyfire join Gray in the not even actually needed here club. B-Hunter goes bot lane. Spectre proves that she is still worth it even at triple price. And finally, Kezimaru brings some extra spicy tech. Oh, yes. I'll begin by deploying Kezimaru facing down. I'm placing her like this because as long as we aren't extremely unlucky on totem spawn RNG, she can handle the initial enemies and their totems. I got unlucky. This does just cost me an extra gravel deployment to clean this up. However, this is slightly nerve-wracking, as this does mean I am losing a lot of my margin for error at the start of the run. With the extra totem removed, I deploy Hibiscus to begin charging her skill. She's a lot like Cal in that her class lists her as a medic, but this is a lie. I mean, seriously, she's an art sniper who just happens to heal as a side hustle. It only takes her 2 skill activations to kill a sharp edge, and given her insanely fast rotations at S2M3, this is an extremely low hurdle to clear. The real issue here isn't if she has enough DPS, it's finding the right timing to click her skill button to get her to actually target the correct things. Luckily, for this first one, I can just slam the button as soon as I can. Next up, we get B-Hunter in position to hunt some bees. Well, at least that's what I told her she'd be doing. I imagine her disappointment was immeasurable and her day was ruined when she found out she was not actually hunting bees. After this, we get our final key player in position. Ethan joins us to deal with the totems on the top lane. They should kill the sharp edges before their final lap, or else Ethan will actually just leak the blades. But lucky for us, Hibiscus prefers hurting to healing. Next up, the Peacock prances into Hibiscus's range. These actually have aggro, but that actually also helps here, as Hibiscus will target those over the blades, and we once again just have Hibiscus do a single skill activation to kill these Peacocks. These are the elite Peacocks too. But now we get into where this clear is getting really spicy. The outer lane sharp edge, I had to do something very particular. You see, there's a special technique, we'll call it, with Kazimaru, where you can permanently summon her clone. This requires some extremely precise timing, where you activate her skill within a couple frames of her dying. This causes her skill summon to be summoned at the exact same time as her death substitute appears, and the timer to remove her skill summon gets overwritten by the timer for her to switch back into place with her substitute. This leaves the clone, which does not take a deploy slot, on the battlefield permanently. Creative interpretation of the rules, I've done nothing wrong. I do still need to stop the sharp edge from advancing, as well as get him to use his extra blades though, so I recall Kazimaru and begin throwing snaps at the sharp edge until Kaminingo is able to finish off the sharp edge, leaving only one blade, which Hunter can solo. Now I've reached the point with Hibiscus where I need to actually think. I need to activate Hibiscus so that she targets the sharp edge and the Peacock. The Peacock is easy because it has aggro and is guaranteed to be targeted, but for the sharp edge, I have to wait for it to get in front of the medallion, but I also can't wait too long here as I need Hibiscus to be ready for the double sharp edge wave, where I need to get Hibiscus's first activation in on them during the short time period in which all of the blades from the previous sharp edge are behind her. I also need to prepare for the outer lane here. This time around I'll be using Spectre to drain all of the extra blades and kill the sharp edge. Sadly, Kaminingo is no longer being buffed by Kazimaru's skills. There's no real chance for her to deal any damage here. I just left her on the field because she's fucking cool. Next up, oh boy, it was time for some precise Hibiscus timing. I needed to wait for the medallion to get behind her, I needed no blades in her range, and this was only possible because Manticore just barely managed to apply her slow as the sharp edge was walking by. These boys are normally so much faster than the medallion, I never would have had a chance for this. When Hunter finally takes out the final blade on the bottom lane, we're able to recall her and finally deploy the 96 cost Lava Altar. And this is the point where I have to admit something. I lied earlier when I implied that lava didn't help that much. In this case, the truth was stranger than fiction. Lava absolutely fucking clapped this mass of sharp edge blades. After all these years of doubting her, Lava finally did it. She proved herself to be an irreplaceable member of the team, something no one else could have done other than her. I am sure Hibiscus could not be prouder of her sister in this moment. And just like that, invitation to wine has been cleared under what many would call impossible conditions. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. This is my first time trying to make a longer video here on YouTube, so I would love to hear your feedback in those comments down below. This entire challenge was streamed live at twitch.tv/Rolltat, so if you'd like to see me co-leveling skill level 2 units, you should come check me out.